This is Pro Series Off Topic.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Pro Series Off Topic. This is episode 13 and today I'm talking all about unrealistic expectations in the design world. I think most of my viewers are, in the real estate or design or contracting world, and we all have fallen into this, have a client that has these unrealistic expectations that are brought on by media. So if that's a TikTok video showing a renovation in 30 seconds or a TV show that shows a renovation done in, 2 weeks and it's only $10,000 to do a full kitchen. And that makes a very hard sell on clients. And I just want to kind of talk about that. I think we all fallen into that, especially when a client does not have any experience in renovation. So first off, I've talked about this in my Pro Series with other designers and what makes a good designer. And I think this goes for any of those professions that I talked about just a couple seconds ago. It's great to interview your client. They are hiring you, but you are also seeing if it's a good fit for you to be their professional for their project. And one of the questions you need to ask them is, have they ever done a remodeling project before? Because for the most part, these unrealistic expectations are coming from them not having any experience in the construction world, which is totally fine. But when you don't have experience in something, you're either don't have expectations at all, or you're taking expectations from whatever thing that you are gonna, that closely gets you there. So like if they're a big HGTV watcher, or they're on Pinterest a lot, or they're on TikTok a lot, seeing all these home renovations, they're gonna take that as their expectation. That's what they're expecting in their head, that construction's going on. And I think, in the way I kind of got around it, is if they say no and they have not done a renovation before, go in depth on the steps. Give them a little timeline. The timeline is such a huge thing. You'll get less questions. I know you guys have had clients that I don't want to say pester, because I would be doing the same thing if I didn't know what was going on, but they're always texting you, emailing you, calling you on what's the next step. What am I supposed to expect next? And when you draw this out and have a timeline for them, you will get that headache erased. That headache will not be there if you do your due diligence. And I know I've had a guest, I cannot for the life of me, I think I'm almost at 100 episodes now. It's hard to remember who said what, but there was one designer that said they actually draw this all out. They'll have dates on it, and they have a point of contact in their company. So if a project manager or, the buyer or whoever it is, they know who at each step they could call for questioning, which is absolutely such a smart idea that I think any designer, contractor should do. Makes their life easier. It makes the person working their life easier, and it makes your client more comfortable, because renovation projects are a very uncomfortable situation to be in, especially when they have family, and especially if it's a huge scaled project. If you're doing a full kitchen remodel, I don't know how many people have done that before, but it's personally not fun. You are out without a kitchen for so long, and if you have kids, that's even worse. I mean, kitchen projects could go on for a couple months sometimes, and that's the next point I want to go on to, is timelines. I think everybody, if they haven't done a renovation project, they think timelines are, you could get a kitchen in within 2 weeks, which 2 weeks is probably a lead time for countertops. You need to make sure that's part of the timeline as well, and tell them, maybe the cabinets are in this week, but, everything else cannot be done. Each part of this kitchen needs to have a different timeline to it, and spelled out for the customer to show them that it's not going to be, it's probably going to be 5 to 6 weeks once we get everything in. And that is a hard pill to swallow, especially like with lead times now with ordering. Sometimes you order, cabinets depending on if it's a custom line or a semi-custom line. It could take, 6 to 8 weeks or longer just to get the cabinets in. And then if you're dealing with a company, you're going to have to wait for their installers too. So that could be, 10 to 12 weeks. Even though the cabinets are in, if you don't have your own contractor, or, you're dealing with the contractor's timeline as well. So dealing with this early on and getting them as much on the same page as you when it comes to timeline, and every single piece of the project just makes your life so much easier. I think we see these timelines on television, and I do not want to poo-poo the TV shows, because I love the TV shows. I interview a lot of the TV shows. They're great people, and they will even speak on this. The timelines on TV are sped up for a reason. It's production costs that's going into it. So there's so many more costs that come into a television show that it needs to be done fast. So obviously the project's going to go faster. I mean, I grew up watching Extreme Makeover Home Edition when they made a whole entire house in a week. Obviously that's completely unrealistic, but that's a TV show. They need to get it done. That's part of the whole gimmick of the show, to get it done in a week. So if a customer doesn't understand that point of it, and you're explaining to them the TV show has to be done at a certain time because of production costs and everything, and people are bending over backwards to get that done. If you listen to any of my interviews with HGTV people, they are doing the jobs that are being done for the TV show, but they also have a business on the side that they are doing. Well, they're not on the side, their main job, and they are still doing untelevised projects. So they have to put the TV show kind of in priority in a way, when it comes to contractors and their duties of designing and whatever they have to do for the actual project, because they're on a tight timeline, because they're usually doing 8 episodes per season, 8 to 10 episodes per season. So that's 8 to 10 projects within 4 to 5 months, whatever their scheduled time slot for shooting is, because they have to get these TV shows out, because the network's pressuring them on doing that, because the network doesn't make money unless the show's out and it's successful. So that's another thing a lot of viewers don't understand. And then also with timelines of product, most of these TV shows, and if you go back and listen to any of my episodes, they have product sponsorships. They have products that are just sent to them. So either the cost of it is comped for publicity for the TV show, the branding is shown on the television show. So the company thought, it's a good marketing tool, it's going to be on a TV show, let's just give you the product. So they're, the customer's not paying for that. So that lowers the cost. And then also lead time with a lot of this stuff. Either companies will give them what they can give them in stock, or it is pre-made, and it's kind of like a unrealistic type of thing, because this project's actually been in planning mode for probably 2 weeks when they're actually showing the TV show, the designer just coming in and saying, ooh, this is what we're going to do. Well, the cabinets are already ordered before then. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that isn't seen. And to the TV shows, why would they explain this? Because it kind of gets rid of the magic of TV. I think we all love to look or watch that, because it kind of would ruin the show if they came out with that stuff and kind of told them, well, before I actually came into the show or came into your home and designed, I actually had everything ordered. And for the most part, they have a design production team in the background that are doing all the measurements, everything, so the designer could just do it real fast and have it done. So that's another unrealistic expectation. But again, I'm not poo-pooing the TV shows because this has to happen to produce a successful TV show and a TV show that people are going to want to watch. And then when it comes to bumps in the road that every renovation project has, I don't care. There's no project that does not go smoothly because if you think about it, a lot of these products, especially cabinetry, made out of wood and natural materials like stone and everything, something is going to crack or be ruined, and not because of the contractor or the fabricator. It's just life. It's a natural product, or it's there's a default in it that we don't see after the factory makes it. It just there's so many things, and I think shows are getting better, and they do show those a lot now. But it's a lot more common in the everyday life, and to kind of go up front and kind of tell them that. I mean, I think anybody here that works with cabinetry, it's almost impossible that you order a whole kitchen and every single cabinet is perfect. I kind of said that in my when I renovated my kitchen, and I posted a video a couple weeks ago about the new doors company I did, and every single door came in perfect, and that's so unrealistic. And I made sure I said that in the post because that's very unheard of, and it says a lot to the new doors company. Hence, like, well, it is HDF, so it's a lot more easier to manufacture, and humidity, the production of it all, and then also the delivery of it. So how they packaged it, that's usually when cabinets are destroyed because they're on big, humongous trucks of, maybe dozens of kitchens going over to a kitchen and bath dealer, and a driver takes a wrong turn or a quick turn, and it will make one base break, and it's a domino effect type of deal. So I mean, it's very important to talk about that. And then the big one is unrealistic expectations when it comes to cost. Like I said before, there's a lot of brand deals that aren't involved in the projects. So you're seeing these prices on the screen. And then also TV shows cover some of that cost sometimes. And then I actually just interviewed Greg and Tori Smith from a lot of HGTV shows, and they're a part of so many different renovation things this past week, and then they'll be on the podcast I think in August. I'm about 4 weeks out from recording dates to release actual Pro Series episodes, so you'll hear that in August. But they kind of talk about all of what I'm talking about now, hence why I'm talking about it now, because it's so fresh in my brain. Cost has been such a huge factor in any of the professions that we've talked about in this episode, especially the design and real estate world. People really don't understand that, like, if you buy a home here in Pittsburgh, it's not going to be the same cost it is down in Texas. Every area has a different, housing market, cost of living, cost of construction. It's all different. It's not a universal thing, and that is something very hard for the regular consumer to realize, especially when you don't work in that industry or you just don't have experience in that industry. And it's one of those things it just comes easy to us. We understand that, it makes sense because we live that, we breathe that every single day in our business, in our work. But they don't. So breaking this down and kind of treating every customer as this is the first time they've done it, or that they know nothing about renovation, even if they did have a project before, is probably the best way to do it. Just being as beneficial to them as possible. I think, we're all in it for the referrals. We're all in it for a happy client. And we want that that's how our businesses grow. And, they're, for the most part, they're not doing a lot of these projects, they're doing a lot of these projects with money they saved up for years to do, or maybe they're not going on a vacation this year to get this kitchen done that the kids are finally out of the house, they're finally getting to the kitchen, or they're finally doing to the bathroom, or they're finally doing an addition because they need it. So being able to calm them down a little bit with all these timelines, or just breaking it down for them to just be able to calmly live in through this renovation, not only helps them but helps you in the end. And that's pretty much all I have today for Unrealistic Expectations. I think we dive into it more, but I think I do that enough in the Pro Series. I just kind of wanted to do a couple points that I kind of felt in that were fresh on my mind from recording this week, and just kind of dive in a little bit more than I have with the Pro Series and kind of give it my opinion, because most of the time when I'm doing these interviews, I try not to give my opinion as much. I'm trying to strictly be there as a host. Yeah, I try to make it a conversation, but I don't want to talk about me and my thoughts so much. I listen to so many, if it's radio or TV or whatever, hosts that have to relate to the guests pretty much on every topic. And that drives me crazy. I cannot stand that. And I try so hard not to do that on the Pro Series. And I think I do a pretty good job with that. If I don't, please always message me. And that's another thing. I recorded another episode this week, and this guy gave me some great, some great corrective criticism that really helped out. And I think that's something that we need. And he wasn't mean at all. It was great stuff. It was about like Mike and just things to up my game. And that's something great that I always ask guests, and usually guests just say, "Oh, you did great. Keep going. You're doing great." But to have this from a very experienced podcaster too, he'll be in the end of August. But it was great to hear. But now I want to get back into Country Music Weekly. This is something that I love talking about. And let's talk about the media base chart. It hasn't changed much at all. I think we go it's Morgan Wallen and Luke Combs always at the top. And that's it again this week. Number one with Luke Combs, Fast Car. He was last week's number one. Number two this week is Morgan Wallen's Last Night, which he was 3 last week, which is crazy because it was already a number one song, and it's went backwards, and then now it's going back up the charts. It's just Morgan Wallen's killing it. And the next artist that's killing it also is Jelly Roll. He is coming in at 3 with Need a Favor. He was number 5 last week. Number 4, Jordan Davis. Next Thing You Know, still at 4. And number 5 this week is Justin Moore and Priscilla Block, You, Me, and Whiskey, from number 6 last week. Priscilla Block is, if you don't know, a newer artist on... She kind of, I believe, I may be wrong, she became famous on TikTok. She was part of the 615 House, which, those who don't know what the 615 House is, it is an influencer music house in Nashville. It's a bunch of, you can look them up, they're super, super talented. They just sing a bunch of music all the time, and that's the content they're creating. And she was one of them during the COVID, I believe, and then she kind of branched off, and I think she got signed to a record label and kind of has just gotten bigger and bigger throughout the couple of years. But this song will probably put her on the map for the media base chart, and really get her name out there, which is pretty exciting because there's not a lot of females in country music, or females that get a lot of chance. I mean, I'm looking here at the top 30. She's the only female in the top 10 songs. And then the next one is Hailey Whitters at number 17, which we'll talk about her in the new music. Kelsey Ballerini at 21. Lainey at 22, Ashley McBride at 26, and that's all. That's only 4 or 5 in the top 30. So hopefully this helps out with the female country artists and the success that they have on the charts. It's been a pretty male-dominated genre for quite some time, and we'll see with this. So into new music this week. Speaking of female artists, Mickey Guyton came out with a duet with Kane Brown called "Nothing Compares to You." This song it just needs to grow on me. I really like Mickey Guyton, and her voice is absolutely amazing. But none of her music so far has really done super well. I think I don't know if she's writing it or who's writing it, but I don't know if it's just not speaking or I don't know. I hopefully it's a good hit because I do like her and I like her voice, and I hope it all goes well with her. Next song, Coulter Wall came out with a new song called Little Songs. Pretty good. He has that old country, I want to say like 60s, 70s sound, which is really cool and refreshing to hear in today's day. And I think country music, I want to know if anybody else thinks this, but country music is it has been a roller coaster of how the sound has been for the past so many years. We had the bro country for a while, and then with pop country, and then I feel like the traditional roots of country music are coming back slowly. And this next artist is a curveball that we kind of talked about a couple weeks ago. Her name's Colby Calais. You might know her from Bubbly. She was a pop artist. She came in during COVID with a country band. I believe it was her husband and a couple friends. They broke up. They were really good, actually. I really liked them. But she just came out with another country song called Wide Open. It's the chorus is really good, but I don't know if the rest of the song necessarily matches the greatness of the chorus. I hope it kind of catches on because I do like Colby Calais, but I don't want it to be. I think it's going to be hard for her to grow right now just because people are probably just see her as someone just trying to get into country music because it's an easy thing, or she thinks it's going to be easy. But I hope she does well because I do like her and I like her music. The big drop this week was Dan and Shay. Those who haven't seen the video that they posted, I believe Monday, to kind of surprise announce all of this, they kind of talked about they were driving in the car in the video and talking about this past year and how they almost quit and how they stopped talking to each other for so many months and how they kind of just rekindled their partnership in music. And this album is something that they're super, super proud of. And I think is probably one of the most traditional sounds from Dan and Shay ever. And I think that's something critics or fans have been wanting for the past so many years. I know I have as well when it comes to Dan and Shay. Their single off of it, they released 3 songs. It's called Save Me the Trouble, which I don't mind, but they released 3 songs to kind of announce that their new album is coming out in September called Bigger Houses. It wouldn't, out of those 3 songs, it's definitely not my favorite. Maybe it will grow on me. My favorite right now is Bigger Houses, which is the title track of the album. It is very traditionally country, and it has that cool message of somebody always wanting more. So the grass isn't greener on the other side, or they're always wanting that bigger house type of mentality. It's a good story for, I think, a lot of society nowadays. Lorna Lane had a song probably like 4 or 5 years ago called Getting Good and had the same premise. And I always wish that song kind of got big because it's a message that's not really said in song. And I think it's a message that a lot of people need, and I know I need to listen to. So I hope that becomes a single at some point. I wish that was the lead single. I think that would have done really, really well. And then the third song that they released to announce this album. It's called Heartbreak on the Map. I think that's probably my second favorite. It's just funny that the third favorite that they released is the single. I hope that, does well for them. Yeah, and then getting back into Hailey Whitters that we talked about. She's one of the women on the top 30 with Everything She Ain't, which is a great song. I can't wait for that. It has to be a number one. She has that old time country, almost like Dolly Parton-esque type of music. And she's announced her new EP, I'm in Love, and also announced I'm in Love, the song that's the title track on the EP that came out. That's a pretty good song. Definitely check that out. She also has Everything She Ain't on that. And then she has 4 other songs and I don't know exactly when this will be out. Doesn't say here on Apple Music, but that's a good one. Brothers Osborne came out with a new song. I actually haven't heard it yet. I have it here to listen to, but I haven't gotten to it. And then my favorite from the week is Logan Crosby's EP, 23 Days in LA. Those who don't know who Logan Crosby is, he is the cousin of Jason Aldean. He was on ABC's Claim to Fame last year. We kind of talked about it maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's a great show. It's on right now. It's hosted by Frankie and Kevin Jonas, and they take celebrity relatives, but they don't tell you the celebrity relatives. There's a bunch of clues. Everybody in the house does not know whose relatives who in the beginning, and they kind of have to figure it out, and that's kind of like the competition. They stay in a house in LA, and they kind of do this, but he was a contestant last year. He's kind of sporadically come out with new songs in the past year, and this is his first big project, and this is an EP of 5 songs. I really like his voice. His voice is like no other, and I think when you're a guy in country music, it's great to have a unique voice, and he definitely has that. My favorite off of this record, or this EP, is Ain't Nothing Like Loving You or Run Away With You. Great songs. I think he wrote this off of a relationship that he had in LA. Definitely go check him out. And while you're checking him out, my favorite song of his is called Everybody's Drunk. It came out, I want to say in March. Yeah, mid-March. It's a great summer drinking song. Definitely check that out, or just check out all of his music. He's a great artist, and I think he's going to be big, not just because he's Jason Aldean's cousin. I think it's because he has a really unique voice, which stands out in country music. But that's all I have this week for Country Music Weekly and the Pro Series Off Topic. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Like always, if you want a topic, always message me. I'm always open to new topics to talk about every week. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll talk next week. Look forward to a new Pro Series episode on Monday with 2 HGTV stars, which I'm going to make it a little surprise. Stay tuned until Sunday to see who will be on the episode. It was a great episode. But now I hope you enjoy your weekend and stay cool. Bye.